your body fuel your goals. As athletes, it's really important that you feed your body literally to fuel your goals. You really are made of what you eat. And if I'd have known that when I was younger, I would have probably been an even better athlete than when I was younger. I was very into track and field. I was a sprinter, long jumper, and I also played volleyball. And then in college, I didn't do anything, and I didn't really like my body after I got out of college. So I decided to sprint again, and then I kind of got into bodybuilding. And that's kind of where I am now. My first degree is in journalism, as we said before. Second one is exercise physiology, and I've been a trainer for the last 14 years. So I work with all sorts of athletes and clients of different ages. So what I'm sharing with you guys is based on, of course, my own experience with lots of athletes that I've worked with over the 14 years, and then, of course, what I've learned in school along the way. So you know that 80% of what we look like is based on what we eat, and 20% is based on what we do. So if you don't like what you see in the mirror, you need to think about what you're putting in your body, not what you're doing in the gym, because you can't build a great body with unhealthy food or bad food or fun food is what I like to call it, because it's actually something you should enjoy, not something that should be negative. So based on that, if 80% is what we eat, 20% is what we do, if you're not eating the right way to get to your goal, whether it's to be stronger, faster, a better athlete in some way, it's not going to happen. There's no amount of practice that you can do, there's no amount of weightlifting you can do, there's no amount of anything you can do to get your body where it wants to be, where you want it to be if you don't eat to get to that point. So first thing I want to talk about is just the two fundamental things, which is hydration and sleep, which we all lack in college. I've spent 2 rounds in college myself over the years, so I understand completely what it's like. We're made up of 70% water. So if we don't keep drinking to rehydrate our body, we can't actually soak in the nutrients from our food. So we're actually going to literally starve ourselves. Even if we're eating enough food and good food, we can't absorb what we need to from it. So it kind of starves our body of the nutrients that we need. That's what makes you tired and feel drained, makes you want to eat cookies and muffins and things like that, because your body's looking for a quick pick-me-up. So the first sign of dehydration is often hunger, not thirst. And a lot of people make that mistake, like they start to feel hungry, so, oh, I just need to eat something. I'll munch on some cookies or I'll have some chips. Whatever we can find in college, it's usually that kind of stuff. So you really want to think about how hydrated are you? Are you drinking enough water? I'm going to say this now. So on the way out, I made 3 handouts that you guys can take home. One is about hydration. The other one's a protein bar recipe that you guys can make. It's super cheap. It's amazingly good. Mike can attest to that because he eats them by the panfuls. I do too. And they're really quick grab-and-go snacks that you guys can do. They're great pre-game, post-game, during the game if you can't get a full meal in. And it's way better than anything you're going to buy at the store in a wrapper because it's not processed, there's not a lot of junk in it, and it's, again, super cheap to make. Then there's another one, too, that you guys can grab. It will help you figure out how to make a healthy, balanced meal and snack after I talk about it today. So they're by the clipboard. And then if you guys want to, I'll say it now so I don't forget. I do a free email newsletter every month. It's filled with healthy recipes that you guys can try, different workout tips, things like that. Everything is science-based, no fads. Like Mike said before, I don't believe that fads are good. Obviously, they last for a moment in time, not a lifetime. So if you guys want to sign up for it, it's totally free. Your email is not shared. I just do it because my first degree is journalism, so I feel I should put that to use. So please do if you want to sign up. Okay, so going back to our water then. The easiest way, most basic way, is to take your body weight divided by 10. So that's how many ounces of water you should have every day, bare minimum. So if you're not drinking that much water every day, don't go from 32 ounces today to 128 tomorrow. It's not a good idea to do that because potassium is one of the minerals that we can flush out really easily with water. And we need potassium for our muscles. Our heart is a muscle. So if you flush too much potassium out, you can have a heart attack. So careful. So if you're not drinking enough water, slowly every day, add about 4 to 8 ounces to your total until you get to where you need to be. So really think about that. Your body weight divided by 10, bare minimum, every day. So if you throw a practice on top of that, or a weightlifting session, something like that, you're going to need even more. And the tips for that hydration are also on the sheet, like how much do you need pre-practice, pre-game, during the game. Please take one with you guys. It's good for a reminder. If you don't get that much water in now, think about how you start your day. Do you have water in the morning? Do you grab a soda in the morning? Are you a coffee drinker in the morning? you really want to start your day with water because you're dehydrated from sleeping all night. So think about when you get up in the morning, shoot for 8 to 16 ounces right away in the morning when you have breakfast or with your breakfast, which you're having breakfast, right, in the morning? Right? Okay. We'll talk about that too. So make sure that you eat in the morning too. All right, so start your day then with that much, and then keep having 8 ounces throughout the day. So in a perfect world, you have a breakfast, something for a snack mid-morning, you should have another 8 ounces there, another 8 ounces with lunch, 8 ounces mid-afternoon, 8 ounces with dinner, and if you're practicing or working out, easy to get another 16 to 24 ounces there. So you should easily be able to get your water intake that way. It's just about timing it out and thinking about what you're having. And most of you have water bottles in here, which is awesome. So if you have a water bottle, or if you're just drinking out of a regular little water bottle, which I brought along today, an easy way to do that, say you need 10 8-ounce glasses of water a day, put 5 rubber bands around your water bottle. Every time you drink the water bottle down and fill it, take the rubber band off, and you know that you have your water for today when your rubber bands are done. It's an easy way to do it, so you're not trying to think about it all the time. And then eventually it'll just become a habit, and you'll drink that much every day because your body will tell you that you have to drink that much every day. So just a little cheat note of how you can get it in there. Alright, so I just want to touch the last part about water is when you should have water and when you should have a sports drink, because I think a lot of people abuse sports drinks actually, quite a bit. If your exercise session, practice, playing the game, lifting weights, whatever it is that you do for your sport or for your own body, for your own health, 60 minutes or less, just water. You don't need to have a sports drink at all. At 75 minutes to 90 minutes, you want to think about having a sports drink then. So that would be more if you're playing the game, and the game is obviously going to last, whatever your sport is, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that. So 60 minutes or less, just water. After 60 minutes, once you get to 75, 90 minutes or so, you want to start having a sports drink and sip on that every 10, 15 minutes. If you drink a sports drink before the hour is up, and you start taking in all those electrolytes, that sugar and sodium that's in there, it's actually going to dehydrate you. It's going to block your body's ability to absorb the water and use the water that's in your body now, because now your body's sending moisture, per se, to your stomach to help digest what it doesn't need yet. It's still burning carbs out of your bloodstream and out of your liver, so you don't need it until you get to that 75, 90 minute mark. I did not bring it today, but I thought of it on the way here. So if you guys want some sports drink recipes that you can make yourself, I brought them when I was here last spring actually. Please put your email address on there and just put like a little S next to your name, and I'll email it to you. It's super cheap to make. It's going to save you a ton of cash, and it tastes a lot better than Gatorade. True story. So put that on there if you want. So signs of dehydration. Obviously, you just said hunger is one of the first signs. Headache, nausea, things like that, being really tired. So if those things are happening to you in the middle of the game, it could be coming from the dehydration. Maybe you didn't have enough water today. Remember that for every caffeinated beverage you have, you're pulling about 8 ounces of water out of your body. So that means it could be coming from soda, it could be coming from coffee, and we're going to talk about the little Red Bull and other drinks today too. There's caffeine in there, so if you're drinking any of those things, you're dehydrating yourself every time you're drinking those. Which isn't horrible if you enjoy a cup of coffee or you want to have soda every now and then. Just make sure you drink extra water. Extra 8 ounces for every one of those things that you drink, because you don't want to dehydrate yourself. All right, so then if we talk about, I'm going to flip this over. 2 seconds, I have too many sheets in my hand. The energy drinks, actually, and alcohol was brought up to me. Okay, so let's go to energy drinks first, because I think a lot of people use those. Did you? Or did you just, okay, I thought I saw you. By the way, you guys, if you have questions as I go along, you can interrupt me anytime. I didn't say that, but it's totally okay that you do. So energy drinks, if you guys have ever tried them, I'm sure you probably have, because everybody's sleep deprived in college, right? So I'm going to go through a couple of them, and then just some of the things that you want to be aware of if you're going to consume them. So Red Bull, one of the most common energy drinks on the market. In 2009, they tested it in Germany because it was coming up with ingredients that weren't on the label, and athletes were testing positive for narcotics, and they couldn't figure out why. And that's because there's cocaine in Red Bull. So really want to be careful, and Red Bull's just not a good option. So kind of cross that off the list right now. True story, if you Google, all over the place. It's like 0.4 micrograms per serving of Red Bull of cocaine in there. So a lot of countries actually banned it from being sold or even distributed to their athletes. A lot of colleges overseas were actually giving Red Bull to their athletes, and they couldn't figure out what was going on with the drug testing or why things weren't working out. So be aware of that. Some of the other popular energy drinks are Monster, Adrenaline Rush, Full Throttle, Redline, Rockstar. You can name a million of them because everybody's got an energy drink on the market now. They're sold over the counter at most grocery stores, gas stations, things like that. You can get them anywhere. A lot of nightclubs have energy drinks because they make mixed drinks with them, so it kind of ties in with the alcohol, which I'll go into next. But combining the alcohol and energy drinks allows you to drink more alcohol and mask the effects of it. But combining those two things is lethal. And there have been many, if you Google this, cases where college kids have died. Because they had a couple of Red Bulls and alcohol mixed together, and their heart couldn't handle the amount of caffeine and the alcohol at the same time. So you might not feel that coming because you're a little intoxicated, probably. So just be aware, you guys, seriously. I'm saying this, we're laughing, but it happens all the time. There are better ways to fuel your body than that, and if you have to rely on an energy drink to give you energy, you really want to think about what you're putting in your body. Maybe you're not eating enough healthy food because you really should get your vitamins and minerals from food first and supplements second. So, so most energy drinks contain about 80 milligrams of caffeine in them, and that's probably doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about it, a regular serving of cola like Coke or Pepsi only has 23 milligrams. So it's 4 times about the amount of caffeine in a tiny little energy drink. And when I'm saying 23 milligrams, that's an entire can of Coke, which is really like 2 servings or bottle of Coke, whatever that is. I dated myself. We drank out of cans when I was a kid. We didn't have bottles yet. So, all right, so the larger cans of energy drinks, you want to think about that. They actually have about 2.5 servings of energy drink in them. So that gives you 2.5 times that 80 milligrams of caffeine. That's a lot of caffeine. So think about energy drinks again, maybe not as the best choice for energy. Too much caffeine can lead to all sorts of health issues, according to the Mayo Clinic. Some of the most popular ones are insomnia, nervousness, restlessness, dehydration, digestion problems. I'm having speech problems right now. Muscle tremors, headaches, things like that. So there's this all big slew of things that can come from caffeine. And it's already a lack of sleep usually in college that you have, so you don't really want to contribute to that if you don't have to. Sleep is a big part of recovery. So foods and drinks that are regulated by the FDA cannot contain more than 65 milligrams of caffeine because it isn't safe for us and it's not good for our heart, but energy drinks are not regulated by the FDA, so they can do whatever they want. Hence the cocaine, hence the caffeine, and all the other things. So please guys really think twice before you have the energy drinks. It's just not worth your money, honestly, or your health, for that matter. Sugar content is another big thing. It can obviously lead to diabetes down the road. It might not be something that you feel now, but down the road, your body will definitely let you know. So energy drinks are probably on the fun food list, which means very sparingly, if at all, ever. Water first, right? And then maybe a sports drink or something like that. I'd rather see you guys drink a soda than an energy drink, and that's true. I'm not recommending that you do that either, but I'd rather see you do that. So how does alcohol affect your muscle development and recovery? Because that was another big part of it. You're in college, right? So drinking happens. It's okay. We know that you guys do it. So we did too. Few people think about, though, what happens after you have alcohol. You can't buy back the workouts or the practice that you did if you drink too much. It actually negates your workouts it depends on how much you drink, and I'll go through that in a second, up to a week. So the week that you spent practicing or the week that you spent in the gym, you went out with your buddies or you had the party in the dorm, wherever it is, and you had 5 drinks that night. That's a week. That's a whole week gone. It takes that long for your body to recover, so not just the last week did you erase, but you're setting yourself up for misery for about 48 to 72 hours after you did that. So now you're at about a week and a half of time. So really want to think about moderation. Moderation is key in everything we do, right? It's not that you can't do things, you just want to think about how much you do and when you do it. So in order to build bigger, stronger muscles, your body needs sleep, of course, to repair itself, which I'll talk about that in a second. But because alcohol affects sleep, it actually deprives your body from releasing more human growth hormone. We all produce human growth hormone naturally. You can take it illegally, which is not a good idea, obviously, but we release enough internally that we can actually build muscle very well, keep our body fat pretty low, but alcohol stops that process from happening. So if you take in too much alcohol, too much meaning more than a drink, let's just set the bottom line there, right? So more than a drink, alcohol actually decreases your body's ability to release human growth hormone to help you repair your muscle, to build muscle, to get faster, to get stronger by 70%. So every weekend, if you have 5 drinks throughout the course of the weekend, that's 70% of your progress that you just stopped. Not saying you can't have a drink, just saying moderation is the key, right? If I had to tell you, I'd tell you not to drink. It makes a big difference if you don't, and your progress and how you feel, how strong you are, is a huge difference. So when alcohol's in your body, it triggers the production also to release a substance in your liver that's toxic to your testosterone. And you don't have to be a male just to have this happen, because ladies, we have testosterone, we just have a really low level of it. So this is double for us, because we don't have much to begin with. So testosterone is, of course, important for the development and recovery of your muscles. And as alcohol is absorbed through your stomach and small intestines into your cells, it can actually disrupt the water balance in your muscle cells, alter your body's ability to produce ATP, which is your muscle's energy source. It's just a cycle we go through. But the testosterone stopping or shutting down is 48 to 72 hours after you would have a drinking party with your friends. Again, talking more than a drink. So speeding recovery of sore muscles and injuries is important, but alcohol is a toxin, of course, that travels through your bloodstream to every organ and tissue in your body. So consuming 5 or more beverages in one night can affect your brain and body for 3 days after. So two consecutive nights of drinking 5 or more actually lasts for 5 days. And again, at a drink, you're already at 24 hours that you're setting yourself up for recovery, right? So then if we go back to that 5 drink for one night, that's the last 5 days that you kind of negated, because you shut down your human growth hormone. You're not going to be able to repair, to get faster, to get bigger, to get stronger. So something to think about, you know, when your friends say, hey, you guys want to go out drinking tonight? Maybe you had a drink, right? Or maybe you say, hey, I'm going to have water, I'll be the driver. I always opt to be the driver. I don't have any friends that get mad about that. So just a choice, right? You have to decide what's important to you. So your sleep is the other big important thing. For your age range, 7 to 9 hours is ideal every night. In a perfect world, you can get that much. If you don't get that much, the worst thing that you can do is sleep for 14 hours tomorrow. It's better for your body if you're sleep deprived. Say you got 4 hours of sleep last night. So you go to bed tonight and you're like, oh, I'm going to sleep an extra 4 hours tomorrow. Not a good idea. Still want to kind of go to bed and get up at the same time every day after that. And your best bet is to take a nap the next day. Not more than an hour. That's actually going to be more than enough to pay off your sleep debt. So if you are sleep deprived tonight, and then tomorrow night, you decide you want to go to bed another 4 hours early, or sleep another 4 hours, that actually sets your rhythm off for another about 4 or 5 days. So the sleep that you made up for the next night, you ruined it for the next 4 or 5. So again, try to go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time, and then the next day, take a nap for an hour. If you're still tired the second day, take another nap for an hour. Just don't tack it all onto one night. It's best that we pay our sleep debt off really small amounts at a time. That way it doesn't shut your body's ability down to recover, repair, to build, things like that. So, okay, so taking sleep, got the water down, right? So now how do you feed your body to fuel your goals? Breakfast, number 1, right? You all have to have breakfast every day. I always give the campfire analogy. Think about your body as a campfire. When you get up in the morning, there's usually hot cinders in the fire at your campsite, right? Because you let the fire burn out overnight. And then you put some nice dry logs in there, maybe some little paper or sticks to get the fire hot to burn the logs. That's how our body is. When we wake up in the morning, there's little hot cinders in there, but we don't have any fuel left in our body because we slept all night. So when you get up in the morning, breakfast is really important. You want to think about what you're putting on the campfire. So you wouldn't put a whole bunch of dry logs on your campfire pit in the morning, right, at your campsite, because it would put the fire out. So if we do that, wet logs, did I say dry logs? Wet logs on the campfire. Did I say that? Perfect. I didn't see you do anything, but all of a sudden I went, wait, that didn't come out right. Backwards, rewind. So wet logs, you would not put a bunch of wet logs on your campfire and expect it to burn, because it won't. It'll put the fire out. So we're like that too. What are wet logs and dry logs? So wet logs would be donuts, Pop-Tarts, juice boxes. I'm saying that because, you guys, true story, my first round of college, I ate a lot of Pop-Tarts and juice boxes for breakfast. Man, if I'd have known that, I know now. So, don't put wet logs in your fire pit, right? In the morning, it's going to put out your fire for the whole day. And what that means is you're not going to have any energy all day long. So by the time you get to the practice or the game later in the day, you're going to be totally spent. So dry logs. Dry logs are whole foods, things that aren't processed, that aren't prepackaged per se. Oatmeal, bread, toast. If you do fruit in the morning, that's good. If you like yogurt, that's great. Just think whole food. You know, more whole food than processed food. You know, you can't pick a Pop-Tart out of the garden. Think about it like that. You know, the juice box you didn't get from the tree. Eat an orange, drink orange juice, way better than a juice box. So that's the difference. Dry logs, wet logs. Dry logs are whole foods, things that are not processed. Wet logs are junk foods. Think about it like that. Chips, Pop-Tarts, pizza, unfortunately, is a wet log. So you can have those things, but you want to have them after you put dry logs on your fire. You want your fire to burn really hot before you put wet things in there, right? Because if your campfire has a really huge fire going and you throw a wet log in there, it'll actually dry out and burn. That's what happens in our body. It's the same way. So say you want cookies. You're not just going to eat cookies for lunch. You're actually going to have a turkey sandwich, and then you're going to have cookies after that. That's totally okay. So you always want to combine it. You can have fun foods, but you always want to put good food in your body first. Otherwise, you put your fire out. Once your fire is out, again, your energy is gone. That means you're not going to be as strong or as fast when you are working out, when you're practicing, playing the game. You're not going to make progress as fast. And that's true just in everyday life. So the goal then, if you're at the campfire and you throw a bunch of dry logs on the fire pit in the morning, you want to keep doing that every couple of hours, otherwise the fire goes out. And that's how we are too. So we need to eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, take in something that's whole food. So string cheese and an apple, good simple little snack you can tuck in your bag or in your pocket. If you like granola bars, you have things like that you can bring along. Throw in a banana in your bag. It's just take something with you so you're never empty-handed, because in college you think you're only going to be gone for an hour and you're maybe went to the library to do some homework. 4 hours went by and you haven't eaten anything. That's not a good plan. Your thought process is slowed tremendously too when you don't eat constantly or consistently. So it's going to make your studies a lot harder. It's going to make it harder for you to concentrate. So every 2.5 to 3 hours, take in whole foods, fun foods. Like I said, you can have them, but you never want to eat them in place of your meal. You want to have them in addition to your meal. Because if you do that in place of your meal, your body's going to store this body fat, and that's going to slow you down even more. So whole foods first, and then fun foods after. So what, for you guys, try to make this simpler, right? Because you are trying to save cash, hopefully, in college. So some things that are really simple. Oatmeal is super cheap. It's one of the ingredients actually in the protein bar recipe. You can make it by itself. You can make it a meal, throw some skim milk on there, toss some nuts in there, throw some raisins in there. They're all things that you can have on hand. So what you really want to think about doing is buy foods that you can use for a lot of different things. Pancakes. Mike eats them too, so I'll share. I do it, we call it a bodybuilder's pancake, but a lot of my general health and wellness clients do it. I have a lot of my young athletes do it that are in middle school, high school do it. Just take eggs, throw in some oatmeal, mix it all up, toss in some cinnamon, fry it like a pancake, top it with some fresh fruit. Pancake, no flour, easy. It actually tastes really good. So it's going to break down a lot slower. It's going to give you energy for a really long time. because the oatmeal is a whole food, right? White flour breaks down fast, makes us hungry actually after we eat it. So oatmeal is great, you can use it for a lot of things. Sweet potatoes, do you guys ever eat sweet potatoes? Not at all. If you haven't ever tried them, you need to try them, they're really good. It's like dessert, but it's not. So sweet potatoes, you can throw them in the microwave, throw a little cinnamon on there. That's an awesome pre-game and pre-practice carb source for you guys. Super cheap, you can do it for like 30 cents a serving. Rice, another thing, buy a big bag of brown rice, that comes down to like 13 cents a serving, and there's what, 17, 20 servings in a bag. So think about carbs that you can have on hand that you can make in mass quantity, and just eat from it all week. I'm not telling you just eat carbs, by the way, we're just talking about carbs right now. So balance is important. You guys want to do a healthy fat, protein, and a carb at all of your meals. So what does that mean, healthy fat? Healthy fat comes from things like coconut oil, olive oil, nuts, nut butter, like natural peanut butter, almond butter, things like that. Olive oil is another good healthy fat source. Avocados are a good healthy fat source. If you eat salmon, it's in there. I know most college kids don't eat salmon because it's kind of pricey. Protein sources you can get from all sorts of things. It doesn't just have to be meat. So you can get protein from eggs, from yogurt, from cottage cheese, from turkey, chicken, beef, all that kind of stuff, tuna, tofu, soy, if you like it, those are options too. So all of those things. Chicken is usually the most common protein source for you guys when I work with college kids. So super cheap if you buy the big 5-pound bag. You can get easily about 8 to 10 servings out of that. It's an entire week's worth of protein for less than $5, right? So it's a lot cheaper than going through the drive-thru, and it's better for you. And then carbs, which I just talked about. Complex carbs, you guys really want to focus on those. Complex carbs mean that, think about grains or dry carbs, like oatmeal, rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, things like that. Simple carbs are fruit, because they break down really fast. Simple carbs are also not good food, like cookies, muffins, donuts, things like that. You can still have them, but again, moderation, right? So when you guys are fueling your day, your game, practice, your last whole food large meal should come about 2 to 3 hours before you're going to practice or before you're going to play, so that your body breaks it down and that you have fuel in the tank. Otherwise, you're going on a 500-mile trip with an empty gas tank. Think about it like that. You're going to get pooped out. You're not going to perform well. Your dexterity will be really bad too. Your reaction times will be off. So you really need to think about feeding your body. Say you didn't get a meal 2 to 3 hours before because you were in class or something crazy happened and you just couldn't do it. Make sure you grab fruit, a banana, an orange, pineapple, something like that, 15 to 20 minutes before you're going to practice or play the game. Those are also things you can eat during the game. And then remember that when you're done, you guys have about a 30-minute window post-game, post-practice to refuel your body. If you don't do that, you're going to break down muscle for fuel, not body fat. Body fat takes way too long to break down, and that's something that we do kind of long-term over time. Body fat doesn't give us glycogen, it doesn't give us energy. It's a long duration energy. If you are a marathon runner, eating fat would be a great thing because that's when you need it, when you're going to run 26 miles. But for post-game, you really want to think about more carbs and a little bit of protein. So it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So say I ate 10 grams of protein, I'm going to eat 40 grams of carbs post-practice, post-game. It's your food. Shh. So post-game, within a half hour after you finish, you need to take in food and you don't want fat then. That's the one time that you don't want to take in fat. So you just want carbs and protein. You can do, honestly, you guys, chocolate milk is an amazing post-workout drink. It has come out ahead of protein powder in almost every study that's been done with the two compared. It's a complete package. There's protein in there and there's carbs in there. The protein from the milk is going to break down a little more slowly, so you're going to have energy for a little bit longer. So if you did a 16-ounce chocolate milk when you were done practicing or playing the game, that's perfect. It's going to buy you an hour before you have to eat a full meal. If you don't, you can do protein powder and a baked banana after your workout or your practice. That would be awesome. Otherwise, definitely get a little bit of protein in there. If you like yogurt, that's another good one, post with some fruit. So try to think whole foods. If you want to eat a sandwich when you're done with like whole wheat bread and some chicken or turkey, something like that, you can definitely do that too. That would work. And then remember to keep feeding your body after practice at night or in the afternoon. Don't stop eating until you go to bed, literally. Every 2.5 to 3 hours, you need to keep putting food in your body. This is kind of a startling fact for a lot of people, especially us as people playing in practice, but it's true. Especially if you're basketball, something really intense like that, football, you should take in half of your body weight in carbs when you're done with practice. That's a lot of carbs. For me, it would be about 65, 70 grams of carbs. And I do, actually, and I didn't always do that. So when I did that, I got a lot stronger and a lot faster. Everything changed, and I totally became a different person within like probably, I'd say, 2 to 3 months. So make sure that you carb yourselves up well with good food when you're done. I'm gonna let you guys tell me if you have questions. Anything at all popping in your head? Nada? You want to eat, right? Yeah, go ahead.
You said natural peanut butter. Can you do like any? You said natural peanut butter. Can you use any kind of peanut butter?
You could use any kind of peanut butter, but I'd rather see you use natural peanut butter because it doesn't have hydrogenated oil added to it. So there's no added unhealthy fats. It's just really good, clean fat in there, and we need that for energy, for muscle repair, keep our joints healthy. The mass-marketed peanut butters that aren't natural, lots of hydrogenated oil, a lot of saturated fat, not good for our heart, slows down actually our healing and our repair process. You guys have a Trader Joe's here. Trader Joe's, if you've never gone, super cheap, really clean food, little tub of natural peanut butter for like $1.80, super cheap. I eat it all the time. If you have Whole Foods, you can get it there too. You can make your own if you're really crafty, buy some peanuts and grind them up. I'm not either, I buy it in a jar. So that's the difference. And you guys, there's like Jif and Skippy make a natural peanut butter that's on the market. They're not. If you flip it over, there's oil on the ingredient list. It should just say peanuts and salt, that's it. So yeah, or Traders, check it out. You can get all sorts of good stuff there. Another good snack, you guys, if you do like hummus and veggies, if you like hummus, that's good. It gives you a little protein and fat. Anyone else think of anything at all? Again, if you guys want everything I talked about on the handout, take the protein bar recipe if you don't take anything else and try that. It's really good. Are you free to eat?
We need like 5 minutes.
No problem.
Thank you, Brenda. Okay, how many of you have listened to Dan Patrick in the morning? Not very many. Dan Patrick, you know what Dan Patrick is? The radio? No. And you haven't listened to him? Have you heard, for those of you that have heard that, he always does something at the end of the show called, "What did you learn today?" So all of his guys, he calls them the Danettes. 4 guys are part of his host, his team. So, while we're getting ready there, just to kill a little time, what did you guys learn from Brent? Eat terrible? So did I. Did you learn how to eat the right way? Okay. Lots of water. What alcohol or supplements or energy drinks or those things can do to your body training? Natural peanut butter. Yeah. I don't think Brenda said you, unless you're not of age, of course, that you can't have a drink or go out and do that, but it does affect what happens to you physically and what that means to you when you're competing. When you're practicing, you're fighting for a starting job. When you go out and compete, I mean, that's true. I never heard that when I was playing. I wish I would have. I think I would have approached things differently if that's the case. Anybody else? What'd you guys learn? You're going to get some new recipes that are cheap and doable, yeah? Does that mean you're going to cook for the rest of the soccer team then one night? Not that much? Okay.
Scott.
Yep.
Quick question for Brenda. How much of this information how much of this information is passed along, let's say, to middle school kids and high school kids? It
Brenda,
just seems like,
yeah.
there's obviously a real big issue with these kids getting obviously over sugared and the obesity issue. I mean, is a lot of this information getting out to these middle schools and high schools? Because it seems like
It
when you
doesn't
talk
actually.
about this, obviously, if I knew this, the same thing, if I knew this back in middle school.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Just the
And I actually,
drinking issue.
I'm from Sheboygan, so I'm just north of Milwaukee on the lakeshore. I go into our schools a lot actually and work with the kids, just in general, but the sports teams too, because it isn't given to them. And the truth is, honestly, it's a lot different than even when I was a kid. Growing up, my parents fed me healthy because that's what we had at home, and I kind of learned more about it that way. But that's not true anymore. Everybody's on the fly and on the go, so they don't know, and they're not aware of what goes in their body. And sugar content is a big thing. Kids 13 and under should have more than 12 grams a day. That's 3 teaspoons of sugar, right? So in a regular can of soda, there's 46 grams. How many do they drink every day? So yeah, it's not getting in there, but that's what Level Up is about actually too, and that's why we are trying to bring the programs into schools and sports teams of all ages, because the younger we can teach people, the better they're going to become. And when Mike presented the idea to me on Level Up and asked me to become part of that, yeah, that's why I said yes, because that 12-year-old is going to be a champion by the time they're 18 if we can help them figure that out. Because it's not hard to do, it's just knowing what to do. Yeah.
When you're reading the label, what are what help?
Labels are interesting. That's a resource, yeah, thank you. The label reading, when you do, you always want to really, honest to God, think about 5 ingredients or less on the label. So the farther from 5 ingredients you get, it's actually a science project, it's no longer food. Right? So then in those top 5 ingredients, you really shouldn't see sugar, salt, or hydrogenated oil, that kind of stuff listed in the top 3 at all. Even in the top 5, but if there's only 5 things, they shouldn't be in the top 3. And then sugar content, 8 grams or less per serving, if you're looking at that. Yeah, high fructose corn syrup, sucralose, fructose, all those things are not good for us in so many ways. I mean, it's been proven now that they not just set us up for type 2 diabetes later on in life, but they actually mess with our neurotransmitters in our brain so we can't think clearly. It sets us up for Alzheimer's a lot earlier in life. It's really bad for us in a lot of ways. So yeah, those things shouldn't be on the label. Any hydrogenated oils, things like that. Most companies took those out now. But yeah, keep your sugar low at 5 ingredients or less, yeah.
What would you say about sodium?
Sodium is a good one. Sodium overall content of the day should always be 2,500 milligrams or less for us, but if you have a family history of heart disease, diabetes, any of those things, even though you don't have it now, if your parents did, grandparents did, you really want to think like 1,500 milligrams or less total for the day. So if you look at a food item and it has 500 milligrams of sodium in it, it's probably not a good choice. You really want to stick like 100, 200 milligrams in a serving at the most on like a canned good or packaged good, something like that. Yeah. Chocolate milk is awesome, which we talked about, like post-workout. Yeah. If you guys do the chocolate milk, try to do the lower fat version, because you can get the regular chocolate milk or low fat. Because if you're going to use it for a post-workout, you don't want as much fat in it. If you're going to use it for a snack in the middle of the day, you can use the regular chocolate milk. That'd be cool. That'll work. Anything else, you guys? Or I'm going to head down, right? Yeah.
As far as fast food, you said try not to, but if you have to,
Yeah.
can you give them some options?
For sure, yeah. If you guys go for fast food, always go for something that is not deep fried or breaded. So grilled chicken, right? McDonald's does grilled chicken sandwiches, grilled chicken snack wraps. Every restaurant does grilled something, right? That's always a good option. You really want to think about skipping the fries. A lot of restaurants, fast food chains now will actually give you fresh fruit as an option. That's a good thing. You want to do that. If you want to do salads, you can do that. Burger is always a good choice over, if you did like a hamburger, over like a hot ham and cheese or a fish sandwich. You guys are all deep fried, not the hot ham and cheese, but that's just so much sodium, probably like 3 days worth. What's that? Yeah, chicken is awesome. What's that? Oh, hot sauce is totally good. Yeah, it's really good for your metabolism actually. So no, yeah, that way, you guys. You can do fries and stuff like that in moderation. It's a fun food, not something you want to do as a staple. A lot of restaurants, fast food places are actually going to like sweet potato fries, which is still not a good option because it's deep fried in bad oil. So I'd rather you have a sweet potato at home, but always go something that's not deep fried, not breaded, as clean as you can get. So.
I think we're just about ready over here. Don't forget, if you want that newsletter or that other sport drink recipe, just to sign up over here. She'll send that to you. There's a couple other quick recipes over there for you all. So grab one of those on the road or on your way out, and then her card there as well. So if you have other questions at all for her, feel free to give a shot. I think she'll be back, or Mike will be back at different times with men's basketball. So